33 guy again, and today is March the 14th, 2014. We're going to be talking about beliefs and bias and brainwashing. So I think it's important that we all look at how we get our beliefs. How do we accept or reject a belief? One way is by listening to authority. You have one type of authority like the church or the Pope, and they're supposed to be infallible, and yet sometimes centuries later they will admit they made a mistake like they did with Galileo. You can have the Quran or the Bible, and some people say, well, that's the truth. You just hope that the interpretation that you're receiving, that you are getting from that book is accurate. Some people just follow the crowd. Well, that's the way it is. That's how things are, so they just continue in that line. You might listen to what? Mainstream media, the Pentagon. Those sources are supposed to tell us how things are. Pentagon for 80 plus years have said UFOs aren't real. If you believe in that, you must be crazy, delusional, or tin hat wearer. And then, what, 3-4 years ago, 2020, they then say, oh yeah, by the way, UFOs are real. We're not sure what they are, but they're real. Psychiatrists or scientists, all those forms of authorities, we believe, in the TMS, the diagnostic manual, which has every kind of mental illness, at one time said, if you believe in telepathy, you're crazy. Or if you had PMS, you're crazy. Now there are certain stipulations around that. So listening to authority is one way that people accept a belief. Your personal experience. So if you have an experience of a UFO, I believe that. I'm going to believe in that because I saw it with my own eyes. It was my own personal experience. You have a good logical argument. If A plus B equals C, then C minus A equals B. My last video, I gave a very good logical explanation as to why non-human intelligence are on this planet. You'll see a link in that description below. Again, if you have some evidence, some data, the facts, you need a logical and open mind, and you look at facts and you say, well, that makes sense, so I believe that. We're going to look at 4 different belief systems. One is materialism. People that say all there is physical matter. There's no such thing as the paranormal, no such thing as near-death experiences. Generally, these people are atheists because they don't believe in God, they just believe in physical matter. We're also going to look at fundamentalists, Christian or Muslims. They say, oh, if you don't do it my way, then you're going to hell. If you don't follow Allah, then you're an infidel. You don't do it my way, you're doomed. There's a flat earthers that seems to me they're ignoring data. Like you got pictures from space of Earth, nice little round marble there, beautiful thing. You have ships, the boats that have horizontal sails, and as they go, as they go further away, you see one of the lines disappearing. It's just going down. And a metaphysical perspective. Those are people that look at unusual, anomalous phenomena, whether it's crop circles, near-death experiences, UFOs, that sort of thing. By the way, let's get this really clear. Science is not materialism. Science is a tool to understand the world. The scientific method is really simple. You observe what's going on, you gather data, you notice patterns, and then you test the hypotheses. Ideally, scientists like to have a double-blind, like you could, as though we could control everything, like factor X and give it to subjects, and the scientist doesn't know and the subjects don't know, and so we have a control over that. As I said last time, there's a lot of things we cannot control, whether it's earthquakes or geese migrating or crops, or those things happen. We have no control about them. We can still study them scientifically by observing what's going on, observe the phenomena, gather data, and then let's test it. Your mind, your beliefs are superimposed over reality frequently, regardless of what the evidence is. That's why it's really important to take a look at data and find out what's going on. It's like if your mind is like a pair of goggles you put on, when you're skiing. You put on orange goggles, next thing you know, you're out skiing. Everything looks orange, but you just adjust to it. It's really important to have an open, skeptical, logical mind to analyze your experiences, so you can make a healthy judgment. Try to think what it would be like for the first fish to go up on land, and then he goes back into the water. He's talking to these other fish. There's land there. They could not, those other fish, it would be very difficult for them to comprehend that. It's like in Plato's cave. That analogy for reality is you've got people chained and a light source behind them, fire I would guess at that time, and all they're seeing is shadows on the cave. That's all they know of reality. And then one of them breaks free, gets outside the cave, looks at how the world really is, comes back and tries to tell these people how things are. It's very difficult when you have people that are experiencing things in a totally different way. Unfortunately, in the whole UFO phenomena, for decades, the Pentagon has lied to us, gave us misinformation, and what a powerful propaganda tool that must have been, up until just less than 5 years ago, that you've got intelligent people, academics, journalists, and the masses that weren't looking at the data because the authority, the Pentagon, said, this is all baloney. What a powerful propaganda tool to have that happen into just recently. Then that authority says, hey, look, UFOs are real, but we're not sure what they are. Recently, the Pentagon just came out and said, no, there's no evidence for non-human intelligence. What a bunch of baloney. The pushback from the UFO community, these other people that actually doing the research, that look at the data and arrived at a totally different conclusion, are basically calling the Pentagon, AARO, the head of AARO, Dr. Shankar Packer, liars. They're lying about what the heck they put out in this 60-page baloney. Just heavy statements with no support. As I said in my previous video, I had a very logical argument. I might give you a condensed version of that now as to why non-human intelligence are on this planet. If you look at the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, where you had scientists looking at all the military data that they had, they were studying the UFO phenomena, and they found the 5 observables. Antigravitic property, floating in hurricane force winds and just staying there. They had hypersonic acceleration. So you go from 0 to Mach 5 or better or else doing right-angle turns at those speeds, that creating a G-force that no human being could withstand, or no machine that we have could withstand it. There's transmedium travel. There was a low observability. Those observables are consistent with the reports that both civilians and military have informed us for, let's say, at least 75, 80 years. That hasn't changed. I wonder who the heck could build that 75 years ago? No one on Earth. Therefore, it must be some intelligent, non-human entity that are building those machines. I have a friend who looks at the data. He's very intelligent. He looks at the argument. I just had the same discussion with him again. It's a logical argument. The conclusion is valid, and yet he is unable to say, I believe that. So that's the problem, is that we have this, our beliefs are challenged more than what we can emotionally handle. Now it's like trying to reason with someone that has, it doesn't matter how logical the argument is sometimes, they're just going to stick with their guns. Why was there such a resistance to not looking at the UAP phenomena? Well, in the past, because Daddy, the Pentagon, the authority figures said those are crazy. You got very intelligent people. Either he's a Nobel Prize winner or laureate or something like that. Dr. Eric Weinstein. He wouldn't look at it. By the way, right now, he has the same mindset when it comes to ghosts. Maybe near-death experiences also. I don't know, you're stuck in your materialistic box, and at least look at the data. That's all I'm asking. Look at the data and see if you could arrive at some logical conclusion. But don't ignore things. Don't, like I say, do your own research, but don't ignore stuff and just come up with something that doesn't make sense. And even now, there's a lot of residual from that past propaganda. There's a drastic departure from your belief system, an ontological shock for you to accept that what I said on that last video. Non-human intelligence. They're not just flying around in machines. They're here walking around among us. That one, I don't know for sure, but the likelihood seems really strong. It is such a shock. Your ontological shock, that belief system. No, I gotta hang on. This is how things are. Maybe they're not. I have some fundamentalist Christians that are good buddies of mine. I wanted to ask them, what would it take for you to believe that Jesus isn't the only way to heaven? For me, it's a simple logical argument. You got a God made of pure love, and he's manifested himself or aspects of himself in various religious leaders. Let's put it that way. Whether it's Jesus or Buddha or Yogananda, those great souls came in with a particular mission. I talked to this one born-again fundamentalist minister. Hey, is Buddha and Jesus in hell? Or is Buddha and Jesus walking hand in hand in heaven? No, Buddha's in hell. How arrogant. To me, that's just so ridiculous to even have that thought. But you're stuck in that belief system. What would it take? Hey, it doesn't take anything away from Christianity to say Jesus isn't the only way, but it's my way and it's the best for me. Everyone should believe your way to God is the best path. I believe mine is, It's very different than being a fundamentalist Christian or a fundamentalist Muslim. If you don't believe in Allah, then you're lost. You're an infidel. Man, or flat earthers. There's someone stuck in a belief system. I'll listen and watch some of their information. I'll listen to opposing points of view, such as what the flat earthers say as evidence, or what a fundamentalist Christian gives me as proof that Jesus is the only way. And I'll do that up to a point. It's just like someone trying to tell me there's no such thing as non-human intelligence. I spend a lot of time looking on both sides, and the evidence is overwhelming. Now, it might not be what I want to hear, but I have to accept where the data takes me. Now, of course, if you're a general in the Pentagon, you might not want people to know the truth about non-human intelligence or UAPs. That's why that last report came out. Bunch of garbage. And part of it is they lost control. They lost control of their sovereign space. They do not have control of their sovereign space. No one on planet Earth does. If those UAPs wanted to, they could fly anywhere indiscriminately, with impunity, anywhere on the planet. They could probably pluck people out, which they have. If they wanted to destroy us, it probably wouldn't be hard. That kind of technology is so far advanced from us. That's where the data shows. That's what it shows us. And by the way, they haven't done any of that. They've taken people and put them back. That's true. But there's been minimal damage, minimal collateral damage to UFOs being in our biosphere. Or maybe it's their biosphere. Maybe they come from maybe they've been here for thousands of years more than we have. And they're just hiding. But there's been the idea of any kind of a threat from UFOs, I think, is so insignificant, so minimal. I have half a dozen wagers with people about the existence of UFOs and non-human intelligence. If you look at a bell curve, like that, in the middle is 100, that's IQ. IQ bell curve, middle is 100. One standard deviation is 120. That's about where the average college student is. My IQ is about 123, 126. Everyone I have a wager with has a higher IQ than I do. I don't know if they're smarter than me, but they definitely got a higher IQ than I do. And I'm still trying to present arguments with them for them to accept that non-human intelligence is on the planet. At least in our biosphere. At very least, their machines are in our biosphere. But there's a lot of reports of seeing non-human intelligence, experiencing them. And so I got to ask, the force is strong with this one. The resistance is strong with this one. I remember this started when one of the people that I had this wager with says, "Oh, you don't understand science. UFOs can't be real." And I said, "Okay, you want to bet $1,000? Oh, yeah. Let's do that. Okay." As I said from my previous video, it's very obvious from the data. If you want to take a cursory look at all the UFO phenomena, you take a look at the data, and it is obvious that there is non-human vehicles in our biosphere. Made by non-humans, non-human intelligence. And there's lots of cases where people have seen non-human entities. They're real. They're here. They're among us. Just have to accept that. And that's going to be that ontological shock, that changing your belief system that's so dramatic. Now, we've got a lot more questions than whether they're real or not. I accept that they're real. Where are they from? Why are they here? How many groups are there? What's our relationship to them? Are they walking among us? Are we collaborating with them? Wow. I'd like to know those answers. I don't. That's it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And like, share, subscribe. Be good to each other. Even be good to the non-humans, whether it's your pet or a dog or a tree. Just be as good as you can. Thank you. Bye.